These are the things that unite Christians. And in fact, C.S. Lewis called the approach that we're taking mere Christian approach, in the sense that it's not dividing over Protestant, Catholic, and Orthodox theology, but it's showing how these aspects of theology hold together all three of these traditions. Now, we're going to give you an approach that's evangelical and Protestant, but we're also going to show you how all these things hold together. And in that sense, we're going to have liberty for those things that are non-essential, those things that Christians disagree about but still accept one another as part of the common family. Now, there are other things that are challenges to the essentials of the faith. And so if orthodoxy is part of the essentials, when something challenges those essentials, we call that heterodoxy or heresy. And so in that, as we go forward in our study together, we're going to think about what are the things that accord with the essentials of the faith, but also things that might stand outside of that. And importantly, like I said, theology is not just a set of ideas. It's about encountering God. And so as we take this journey together, we're going to talk about not just orthodoxy as right belief, but also orthopraxy. How do you live out the right practices that guide us in our Christian faith?
This introduction to Christian theology is an act of discipleship, but is also an act of friendship. And my name is Randy Hatchett, and I teach in the areas of theology and church history and hermeneutics. And it is my distinct pleasure, and I'm grateful to join my colleague Ben Blackwell in this series of lectures. I want to try to give you an overview of a big Christian story, or the story of Christian theology. To do that, we'll do several things. We'll, first of all, name and identify for you the three Christian families, the subgroups. We call them confessions. We'll also look at several periods that church historians and theologians often employ. And we may, given time, look at a few other terms that we'll use sometimes to describe our own circumstance: modernity, enlightenment, and even postmodernity. First, to the confessions. Almost every Christian counts themselves in one of three large confessions. And they are the Eastern Orthodox Confession, the Roman Catholic Confession, and the Protestant Confession. We'll say something along the way about how these emerge in our story. And then there's a number of periods that we employ and recognize. We speak of the patristics with the Middle Ages, and also the Reformation commonly. The patristic period starts from about 8100 to about 500. It more or less corresponds to the close of the New Testament era, and then the decline or fall of the Roman Empire. These fathers, church fathers, we believe are especially profound. We believe they have a spiritual depth to them, and they exercise great discernment. They especially are wise in that they help the church articulate its crucial convictions, especially the conviction of the incarnation, the Son becoming flesh, and then the Trinity. There are a number of great patristic scholars that we'll appeal to along the way, and I'd love to have time to mention just a good many more, but we'll mention just a few and very briefly. I am particularly indebted to Irenaeus, Tertullian, and Origen. Irenaeus and Tertullian live and work in the 2nd century, and Origen just in the early part of the 3rd century. Irenaeus spans the globe across the Mediterranean rim. He starts in Turkey, spends some time in Rome, and then ends up in France, where he's martyred. Tertullian works in North Africa, and Origen, the famous Origen, is in Alexandria, Egypt. He in time falls out with a bishop and goes to Palestine, where he dies in 254 from consequences from an injury he received in persecution. These are all remarkable scholars, and they are particularly able at defending Christianity and helping Christianity navigate away from some dead ends and eventually contribute to Christianity finding their more faithful articulation of key Christian doctrines. There's also other important people.